I have an aunt that used to serve that to at birthday parties. Cake cone, and then you put just like a ice cream scoop size frosting on top.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, it's like at this point, it's like I don't even need to think about how I got type 2 diabetes. It's like I'm just like, there's your answer right there.
Yeah.
You know,
you just blame your aunt.
Yeah, my aunt, exactly. Thank you for the cupcake cones. It's like the doctor even said that. Well, Daniel, looks like you had too many cupcake cones.
You got cupcake-cone-anitis.
Cupcake-cone-anitis. Can't think of any cure except for more cupcake cones.
Yeah.
It's
At
sort of
this
like,
point, we're just going to have to keep giving you more cupcakes. Wait, are you really dying from cupcakes?
Oh, man.
Wow, what a show.
And I think that for some stupid reason, segues into the intro. Greetings, citizens of Earth. Welcome to Accelerativ Thrust. I am Dan Orr.
And I'm Erik Whitaker. We're doing last names now. Cool.
We might as well. I mean, we got to celebrate after that 150th. Crack open a few big ones, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
crack open a few big ones.
Ones. Yeah. You know, just let all of it flow, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
So last episodes we had people send in their favorite records lists or talking about their favorite records, and I knew I would miss a couple, and I did. And so I'll just go. We wanted to go through those real fast so no one felt left out, because we appreciate you getting back to us. Kayla Carney said all of the Cranberry albums, but especially Everybody Is Doing It, So Why Can't We? All the Beach House albums, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, It's Bliss, Cease to Begin by Band of Horses, Melancholy by the Smashing Pumpkins, all Led Zeppelin, Phantogram Eyelid Movies. So that's cool. We also had Jeff Mannix from Good Habits. He said the New York Dolls, self-titled, The Exploding Hearts, Guitar Romantic, The Retards, Teenage Hate, The Replacements, Tim, Kinks. He says he's incapable of deciding on which records or songs. And he just went with the top records that have influenced him as a guitar player and songwriter. The sweet spot, he says, the sweet spot for me is being at least somewhat poppy and catchy, but being a little nasty and abrasive too. Molly P. from Closet Witch said Dexter Wansel, Life on Mars. She says this album is a funky dream that inspires the mind, perfect for when you need inspiration, when you feel love, when you want to groove. It covers a lot. Mike Smith and Jonathan Adjamanal, Transcombobulation. When people say a song is the soundtrack to their life or their walk, this is that album. Another inspiring set of tracks that make me the main character of a cartoon where I'm a dog walking around a city wearing primary colors. It transports. It is well constructed. It makes me feel silly and bouncy, but serious all at once. And then Kate LeBond, Reward. This album feels personal often. It feels mature. It feels like memories I love and memories I don't love. She's a master lyricist. So that's cool. And then we have Luke Tweedy from Flat Black Studios. Luke says, to say he has a favorite record is ludicrous. There's no such thing. He has dozens of favorites. And so he said he'll break it into a few categories. A couple records I've gone back to hundreds of times include June of 44's Tropics and Meridians, Swans to Be Kind, and the Fugazi discography.
Mm.
Records I've personally made that never got the attention they deserve include Iowa City Punk's Xerox, Muscatine's own Leather Parachute, and Austin, Texas's Jenny Hoyston. He says Will Whitmore is a treasure to the Iowa scene and singer-songwriters everywhere. His most recent record is one of his best he's ever made. I would agree with that. We reviewed it a while ago.
Yes.
A current band, a current band that is making quite the splash is Lady Agrain.
Mm-hmm.
They are combining genres in a way I've never seen before, and I feel like after making over 1,000 records, I've seen a lot. You should have them on. They're fun dudes doing cool shit. Okay, little meta there. Maybe we'll have them on. One of the coolest voices in rock was Rick Froberg. One of my favorite bass players is Fred Erskine. I love watching Brian Chippendale play drums. I own more records by the OCs and one Unwound than any other bands. I've seen 10 Grand and Sting play more shows than any other bands. Honorable mentions include Captain Beefheart, Brian Eno, and Six Finger Satellite, which I think all those should be honorable mentions for
absolutely everyone. For everybody. Yes.
So yeah, thanks to everyone who sent in a response. I think it turned out well. People had fun listening, I think, and I learned about a bunch of new stuff I didn't know about, and hopefully everyone else did too. So
me too. And there were some really surprising picks, and then there were some picks that I'm just like, man, I sounds like I really need to, get on it and check this out. So I have two things that I really want to discuss with you, because I'm desperately actually, and I'm being serious about this, Eric. I desperately want to hear your take on this. The first thing I completely forgot about, so we'll just skip that.
Okay.
And so what do you think about that? No, anyway, the second thing though, and this is honestly, like, I'm very curious about this whole thing. Have you heard about the Tool in the Sand situation?
Nope.
So Tool put on this festival, and hold on, let me pull this up here real quick so that I don't have to fact check.
That's what I said the last time I got my tool in the sand. Just being dirty. Okay, I'm always being dirty and sandy.
Tool live in the sand. Okay, so this happened over the weekend of March 7th, 8th, and 9th. And it was a all-inclusive destination festival. It is hilarious to me that the same band that was so anonymous and dark with Anima is putting on this festival called Live in the Sand, and it's a all-inclusive destination festival where I guess the entire weekend you pay like this enormous price, and you got to stay at a resort for 3 days, and then there was 3 days of live music, and it was the lineup is pretty weird, man, and pretty interesting, like Tool, Primus, Mastodon, Coheed and Cambria, Eagles of Death Metal, Umphreys McGee, King's X, Fishbone, Wheel, CKY, and Moonwalker. And then special guest Alex Gray and Allison Gray, who Alex Gray is the Tool artist. But anyway, so they played this thing, right? And so the controversy is that Tool are now facing a potential class action lawsuit because they promised 2 different sets. Tool were supposed to play 2 different sets. And there were 4 identical songs that they played on both sets. So but then there were 4 other different songs. But anyway, a lot of people were complaining because they said, well, they promised 2 different sets and we paid all this money.
Followed by millions of dumbfounded dipshits.
And they have a big enough catalog that they could have done 2 completely different sets. There was a class action lawsuit filed that is saying that, well, they should refund us our money because they didn't give what they promised was the experience. And so
if I go see the Smashing Pumpkins,
wanna go for a ride,
and I spend the whole concert yelling mayonnaise, and they never play it, then I get to sue them.
Yeah, see, that kind of opens up that opens up the door for that kind of thing, I think.
Right.
Which I think, honestly, I'm kind of surprised this hasn't happened before in some way, just because, people are weird. But here's the thing, though. It technically, could you say that they didn't give, by saying that there's going to be like 2 different nights, 2 different sets, that they didn't fulfill the in other words, do you think Tool really owes their fans anything?
No. I mean, unless they specifically said, we are playing 2 sets that will absolutely not contain the same songs, then there's nothing you can do.
Do you think...
I doubt they said that, because that's a stupid thing to say.
Very stupid.
It would be really, really... Yeah, I doubt they said that too. But like, if you paid for this experience, and that's what you got, like you got, because it still is 2 different sets, no matter which way you look at it. It just so happens that 4 of the songs were the same. And they also didn't play... So I looked at the set lists. Surprisingly enough, they didn't play Sober, which I thought was kind of interesting.
They were all messed up when they performed.
Yeah. Yeah, Tool were just too fucked up. That's why they played the same song. Oh man. You know what? Dear class action lawsuit, give the guys a break. They're fighting an addiction.
Yeah. That's true.
Come on. Give the boys a break. I mean Maynard owns a winery. What do you expect?
Yeah. They can't play sober, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I went to the Gathering of the Juggalos and they just played Dead Body Man like 400 times, I'd still be into it. Speaking of the Gathering of the Juggalos, Iowa City's about to have its version called Mission Creek.
Whoa, that totally segued into what we were talking about today.
Right. And one of the performers at Mission Creek is Jordan Sellergren, and she was kind enough to share her new record with us, and so we listened to it.
Come on, everybody, it's record time.
So Jordan is an Iowa City singer, songwriter, musician. I think she's been playing for a little while. Her last record I felt was a little more like alt country, kind of twangy and kind of informed by like Big Thief with Patsy Cline, maybe a little bit, like that kind of sound. Is really great. This one's a little different. I think it's a little weirder. I don't know. The songs are like more theatrical and kind of more like, I don't know, American Songbook kind of Broadway musical moments. Like, I don't know how to describe it. What do you think about the songs?
I think that's definitely a pretty accurate description right there. It's so good. There's levels of musicianship and performance and production here that, I mean, I could probably only ever dream of reaching myself. You know what I mean? This is really, really good stuff. But there is a part of it that is textbook singer-songwriter for sure, but there's some angles that she takes that makes it really stand out and becomes its own thing.
For sure. I think the playing, like you mentioned, is amazing. All the way through. I really like the presence of the piano in this a lot.
And it's all over the record, the piano.
And some of it sounds like real piano. Some of it's obviously like a Rhodes electric piano, which has a great sound too. I think my other favorite part probably is Randall Davis. He plays guitar on this. And it's mostly just comping chords and like soloing, like almost the entire song, every song.
Yeah.
And it just has a really cool way of supporting the melodies and moving the song and just adding little accents there. It's just a really informed performance. I think everything on here is. Yeah, so it was Jordan Sellergren on vocals, guitar, and keyboard, Randall Davis on guitar, Joseph Galaro on bass, and Matthew Berneman on drums. But yeah, all the playing is phenomenal. I think Jordan's vocals on this are interesting too. They have a ton of delay. Like
yes,
a lot. Yeah.
I totally. There's also like this sort of. I kind of figured it was an echo or delay or maybe a combination of both, but it creates this almost like surreal sounding doubling effect.
Yeah, yeah. And on some songs, it's like the repeats are muffled, like to the point that it's not even like the words are being repeated, more just like it just becomes like a melodic, atmospheric sound. And I think it works. I think it sets it slightly askew and makes it a little, I don't know, makes it feel a little precarious. And I think it's great.
What it kind of puts me in mind of the overall sound, like a church band recording inside the church with like the reverbs, like the natural reverb of like the room, and it's just like maybe 4 musicians in a room, like capturing that sort of natural reverb. That's kind of the feeling I got from this.
Yeah, the recording is really great too. All of it's perfect, honestly. It's so well done, and like this whole thing, you know, like the record, the release, the photography, all of it. It just is. It's a really cool approach to stand behind your music that way, and to like stand behind something that isn't always extremely palatable. Like there is a little bit of weirdness to this. Like the thing that it reminded me of the most was Extraordinary Machine by Fiona Apple, like the original one where it was produced by John Bryan. And this had a ton of that, elements of that. Like the piano was reminiscent. I wouldn't say vocally it was super reminiscent, but the way that the melodies work, kind of. And just like this slinkiness to it, where we're moving between chords by half steps and things. And that's sort of that American songbook style too, where it's just a little schmaltzy. And I think it works really well. And it just, the whole thing has, just a very solid foundation, but also this almost wild, unpredictable, carnival-esque element to it, if that makes any sense. And I just enjoyed it a lot.
This is, they definitely don't sound like this Jordan Sellergren record in terms of like the actual music, but just the way the record is produced. It almost reminds me of like the way that the Danielson family records were produced. Have you ever really listened to any of that stuff?
Yeah.
It kind of has that weirdness to it that, you know, and so that's kind of how, like the production wise, that's kind of what came to mind. There's also some just absolute brilliant moments.
Oh, for sure.
One part in particular that I really like, because I think the bass has such a really cool, like walking sort of feel.
For sure.
With like a great pocket, like the whole time. And the drums are mixed very well. But there's also like this, almost like because of that reverb, another thing that I think this, honestly, you could say that this kind of, from a production standpoint, could put you in mind of is like Twin Peaks, you know?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
There's a loungy vibe that is sort of met with like this old soul kind of sound, you know, like oldies type stuff. And particularly the one song that I really love on this is Who Is the Lucky One?
Yeah, that's the one I chose for my song too.
My favorite part of the whole song are the laws that are like, you know, the la la la's that are in the background. It's like, it's providing this, like, I'm assuming Jordan is doing those, but I don't know. It's it almost provides like a backup singer element to it, which that is something that I think is missing largely from a lot of music. I love the whole like backup singer sort of, you know, like almost using like others' voices as like another instrument type thing, you know?
For sure. Yeah.
And that adds so much to just that. It's a very small detail that I think the song wouldn't be the same without it.
Yeah, and I think that they utilize those background vocals or harmonies a lot to great effect. Like
Absolutely.
the last song, "This Love Is a Dull Ache." There's a moment in the middle of the song where it's just this dynamic swelling of vocals, and it lasts. This doesn't sound like a long time, but in music, like I would say almost 3 or 4 seconds of just this vocal part rising and swelling with maybe like 3 or 4 vocals. I just thought it was like beautiful. And
yeah, absolutely.
there's so much cool stuff. I have to mention on the song Beret, I guess you would call it. It seems to all be about going to the Renaissance Fair. But then there's a reprise that comes back at the end of the song, and it's like a kind of like a Renaissance melodic version of the song we just heard done on harpsichord. Just for, like maybe 10 seconds or whatever, but it's just a really smart and fun idea.
Yeah.
Fun way to end the song. And
another thing that I think is great about these songs is that the content of the songs, my interpretation of it, and I just kind of feel like a lot of the lyrics kind of touch upon these sort of seemingly at times universal, relatable subjects, I guess you could say. And then like at other times, it's sort of just like these simple pleasures in life, like you mentioned, the Renaissance Fair, you know, and things like that. But then there's also a lot of like self-reflection and a lot of critique of like capitalism and kind of just like navigating through this screwed up life and coming to terms with understanding oneself and how do you kind of utilize empathy towards others and things like it kind of seems like there's a lot of that kind of self-reflection in the lyrical
I think so
content.
too. Yeah, which is great. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Twin Peaks too, because on Jordan's last record, I felt like that was a big, I don't want to say inspiration, but it was a big part of the sound. Because the thing is that Twin Peaks, for everything that I love about it and everything else, they didn't invent that sound. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes I think it's a shorthand, obviously, to say, oh, it sounds like Twin Peaks. But what we're talking about really is like this more subtle, twangy side of like jazz and country, a little darker, a little more sparse, a little more focused on specific sounds and whatever else. So with her last album, the Sweet Bitter Tears, I think it's called. I felt like it had maybe a little more of that vibe to it, but this one still has it all over the place. I honestly think this one just got a little more theatrical and a little weirder, you know, which is great. So I don't know. It's funny. Like I said, I would say recommend it if you like Fiona Apple, especially Extraordinary Machine. Other things that it might bring to mind, like Patsy Cline, like old country. It's there a lot. But also things like, what's that guy? Caleb Landry Jones. But that's really super theatrical as well. And it just, there's that element to it. It's really cool.
You know, another thing that this kind of puts me in mind of is that new Kim Deal solo record.
Oh, sure. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think if you like any of the stuff we referenced, this is going to be a very enjoyable record.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic stuff. Jordan is one of the performers, one of the many performers at Mission Creek this year, and there's a lot of cool stuff, as there always is.
Yeah, for sure. Did you listen to anything else you thought sounded cool?
Yeah. I mean, I know, I'm pretty sure you know these bands too, but Supersonic Piss and Tanks are both going to be playing, and Eon Alexakis, he just put out his new EP. It's a very cool, like sort of mix of like hip hop and sort of, I don't know, folky stuff or something. Like I can't really, he's doing this like, so I actually saw Ian a long time ago. He just went by Eon, and he was pretty much just a straight up rapper back then. So the name of the new EP or new album, I guess, it's a full length album, but it's got 7 songs. So, it's classified as an album on Spotify. It's called Broken Glass. And it's really cool. He's added a lot of elements of sort of singer songwriter. He's still doing the rapping, which is really cool, but like it's kind of just an interesting sort of take. And then of course William Elliott Whitmore. I mean, I listened to a little bit of Angry Black Men, and they were cool. Good Habits is going to be there. Sun Centauri. I listened to a couple of songs of theirs, and that's interesting. And there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I'm stoked for Supersonic Piss. I'm excited to see him. It's been obviously quite a long time. But so I'm stoked about that. Lalome, I've actually been listening to them for a few years now. They're really cool. It's like surfy, South American kind of guitar-based instrumental stuff. Tropical, I guess you could say, sort of. There was another artist called Flore Laurentine. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but that sounded cool. It was like atmospheric synth stuff, which sounds really cool. And then there's an Iowa City group that I've never seen, unfortunately, and I feel stupid, but they're called Slacker. That shit's awesome. It's
really?
Like, it was like 2-piece, druggy, harsh punk, kind of like Ween if they were more like violent and irreverent. No, not more irreverent, just more violent, basically. Super cool. Like, I'm really stoked to see him, and I feel stupid for not having seen him yet. But
that's
what
cool.
Can you do? But those are the ones that I'm pretty excited about.
I mean,
there's so many. There's so many. Different ones.
The whole thing is, looks really, really cool.
What do you think? I don't know. What else is there to talk about, really? I mean,
Texas.
It's
I've got Texas.
I can't believe John Wayne didn't make anyone's best of list, by the way.
I'm actually really surprised that Noah didn't put that on his list.
There's so many, though. There's so many.
There really is. I still have. So I was thinking. I was thinking today of like some my list was pretty safe, and I started thinking about this. I'm like, there's so many ones that I could have totally put on.
Yeah, there's so many I could have put. So many that I'm just almost ashamed. I appreciate everyone sending in their responses, knowing that they're going to change their mind and be ashamed. Their list. Even seconds after sending it off to me, I'm sure they were like, shit, I forgot this. Anyway, super fun times, and it was a cool little experiment. And I think, going forward, if people are still willing to participate, I would love to have more interactive elements like that. So
absolutely. So speaking of interactive elements, if you want to contact us about reviewing a record, or even like maybe possibly interviewing a band or anything like that, accelerativ.thrust@gmail.com is the email. You could also get contact us through Instagram, and let us know about your stuff.
Yeah, because we really will talk about it.
Yeah, we really will talk
We
about it.
really will. It'll happen right here.
For sure. So yeah, I think that kind of leaves us with the standard goodbye, Eric.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Oh boy.
The first thing I completely forgot about, so we'll just skip that.